Hello everybody, Jordan here, the PH is silent, and welcome to Eberron Explained, a new series where I dive into the lore and history of the Eberron campaign settings. Since this is the first episode, I feel it's always best to start with the creation mythology. The beginning of Eberron is fantastic and magical. It could be how the world and the universe of the Eberron campaign setting was created, or it could be a myth believed by the folk of Eberron. It's really up to you to decide, which you'll learn that Eberron leaves bits of lore and history open-ended for you, the Dungeon Master and player, to fill in the blanks. Deciding for yourself, for your table, how the world of Eberron exists, or leave it ambiguous because that's fun too. One of the important rules of Eberron is if there is a place for it in D&D, there is a place for it in Eberron, just perhaps not how you might think. Let's get started. To the locals, Eberron is known as the Dragon Between. It is the ground under the feet of the people of Eberron. The beginning of this setting starts with 3 mighty dragons, the first dragons that ever existed. These dragons were large godlike beings that had power beyond measure. The 3 dragons were Kyber, Sybaris, and Eberron. Together these dragons crafted the plains at the dawn of time and decided to rest in the space that lies between them. According to the Adventurer's Guide to Eberron, the 3 dragons were able to live in peace until the discovery of a mysterious prophecy. I'm not sure what this prophecy is, as I couldn't find anything other than it was a prophecy, but it shook things up. Evil Kyber fought the others to control this prophecy. Kyber destroyed Sybaris, who was torn to pieces and became known as the Dragon Above, a ring of glowing shards that encircles the world of Eberron. Kyber then fought Eberron, who in this combat realized he could not win, so he wrapped himself around Kyber and trapped him. Their bodies formed the planet. Kyber became the world below, a monster-filled maze of caverns that fills the planet, and Eberron became the surface world, the Dragon Between. In the 4th edition Cosmology, this was changed slightly. Sybaris became the Astral Sea, Eberron the Prime Material Plane, and Kyber the Elemental Chaos. Remember, all things in D&D have a place in Eberron, so the new 4e mythology was adapted for Eberron. Some like to think of it like this, others think Eberron is more isolated and that Sybaris is the dragon above, a broken ring that encircles the planet, Eberron the dragon between, the ground we live upon, and Kyber is more of a reflection of the Underdark than a place like the Abyss or the Elemental Chaos. Regardless, Kyber is where all the fiends, devils, and strange monsters of the world come from. Eberron is where all the natural species live, and broken Sybaris hangs above, whose blood is the source of all magic. Eberron has 12 moons and 7 continents surrounded by oceans and a vast underworld. The continents are named, and please forgive me, I couldn't find a pronunciation guide for this, Arenal, Argonneson, Everis, Frostfell, Corvair, Sarlona, and Zendrick. According to the myth, the blood of these great dragons created all the races of Eberron. Life sprang from the dragon's blood that spilled in the initial great battle. Sybaris created the dragons, Eberron created humanoids and other lower races, and Kyber created the demons of the world. Demons in the sense of terrible monsters, not necessarily the hard D&D definition of a creature native to the Abyss. The early history of Eberron isn't well documented. There were 4 great ages passed after the creation of the world. The first age was the Age of Dragons, which we talked about was the 3 dragons creating life in the universe during a great battle until they became the sky, land, and tunnels below. Next is the Age of Demons. Evil creatures from the depths of Kyber broke free and overran the world. The dragons who lived on Eberron fought back with the help of the Quadas. Quadas are radiant winged serpents born from Sybaris' blood. The Quadas, seeing no end to the conflict, sacrificed themselves to bind the 40 greatest demons, known as the Dark Lords and eventually known as the Lord of Dust, and imprisoned them beneath Eberron. Today, the Quaddles are virtually unknown and appear only in myth and legend. Next was the Age of Giants. The Giants built an advanced society on the continent of Zendrick. The Giants ruled because there was nothing more powerful to oppose them. The dragons could have, but they were in hiding researching the prophecy that started the great battle between the 3 progenitor dragons. The Giant civilization rose up from a war between the dragons and the demons. They enslaved many of the elves in that region. The elves rebelled with the help of the invading race known as the Quarry. Now the Quarry are living nightmares from beyond the world, an extraplanar location known as Dalcor, the region of dreams. It was the aftermath of the fighting with the Quarry that the elves and drow saw their chance to rebel. The giants were prepared to use some cataclysmic magic to thwart their slaves and the Quarry, but the dragons decided to intervene. They stopped the giants, and when they were done, nothing was left of the once great giant civilization. The ruins of said civilization can still be found on Zendrick. The final age was the Age of Monsters. After the fall of the giants, lesser races found room to thrive. Elves, goblins, and orcs began to develop larger settlements, even cities. Their culture blossomed. On Khorvaire, one of the 7 continents, a great goblin civilization arose known as the Dhakanni Empire. It marked the rise of Khorvaire being the dominant continent in the world. Part of their success was the absorption of other goblin nations into the Dhakanni Empire. It steadily grew larger and larger, more organized and powerful. Remember, all aspects of D&D are in Eberron, but might not be what you expect. A smart, powerful, organized, and thriving goblin empire is one of them. The orcs at this time were mostly nomadic, and the elves ran from the Goblin Empire to create their own cities on other continents. In fact, the elves attempted to take Khorvaire from the goblins, but lost a bloody and long war with them. They left back to the continent of Erenal defeated. The fall of this Goblin Empire occurred when portals were opened to the realm of madness. Creatures known as the Delkir came in and just decimated the goblin cities from within. Where they couldn't outright kill, they sowed seeds of chaos among goblins, leading to a civil war. Eventually, the orc druids stepped in and were able to close the portals, but the damage had been done to the goblin civilization. A civil war left the Dhakanni Empire in shambles. It was around this time that halflings were able to start building societies. Until now, they had been under the firm thumb of goblins and orcs. And that's where we'll end for today. Next time, I'll discuss the rise of Khorvaire and its civilizations. I'm still learning as I go, but I super appreciate you taking this journey with me. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks so much for my patrons on Patreon that make these videos happen. If you want to support Eberron Explained in these videos I make here on YouTube, consider stopping by and becoming a patron. Every bit really helps me out. Until next week, take care, everybody.